All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for me to make an update video. Now, I made a video on No Rest for the Wicked, which seems to be an early access ARPG. I was actually kind of sad about this because after this announcement, I went to go check out the game now that I know that they fired the DEI nonsense person, and it's an early access game. I'm not really for supporting early access games. I've never been that way. I've made that public many different times, but I will check it out when it releases so long as they continue to not do this nonsense. But we have an update video, and I made a video talking about how they had a DEI employee that was basically shitting on people and trying to advocate for DEI hiring policies and how it's the greatest thing in the world. Well, apparently that's not the case. The CEO, Thomas Mahler, just recently rebuked the consultant, Alexander Brazzi, who attempted to justify the DEI practices and said that he was fired.
You're fired! Okay.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, apparently they fired this DEI advocate. Apparently they got rid of this guy. Brand new news to me, so we're going to get into it. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says Thomas Mahler, CEO of Moon Studios GmbH, which is developing No Rest for the Wicked, rebuked game designer and consultant Alexander Brazzi, who attempted to justify DEI hiring practices. In response to a lengthy thread justifying DEI practices by War Dog Studios CEO Jay Law, Brazzi posted, "Yep, it would help if people understood effective DEI is about helping people who historically didn't have the network to get eyes on their work and have a chance due to their equal skill. The whole merit smearing is so banal, presumptuous, and out of touch with reality." Mahler responded to Brazzi's comments and rebuked him in a comment on this author's coverage of Brazzi's original comments on the Trent Report YouTube channel. "This person is not affiliated with Moon Studios in any way whatsoever anymore," Mahler wrote. He added, "We've contracted him for a short stint and he was fired for bringing nothing but friction to our team. Just an FYI. Now, here's the thing. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that I got a similar comment on my channel from that exact same account, and I should have put it in this video. I don't have it pulled up, but maybe I could do it on Twitter or something like that. But I believe I got the same exact comment or a similar comment on my YouTube channel from the same exact person. It says, in March, Mahler indicated that his company does not really hire consultants. He wrote on X, "We don't really hire consultants, so pardon me if I'm ignoring all your messages. I pretty much agree with what Jobs had to say about consulting." He added, "And I know I'll get some hate for this, but it is what it is." As for Jobs' comments, the Apple founder stated that, "I don't think there's anything inherently evil in consulting. I think that without owning something over an extended period of time, like a few years, where one has a chance to take responsibility for one's recommendations, where one has to see one's recommendations through all action stages and accumulate scar tissue for the mistakes and pick oneself up off the ground and dust oneself off, one learns a fraction of what one can." That is a very fucking mouthful of, of basically talking about consulting. Now, listen, nobody, like, inherently the idea of consulting is not a bad idea, right? When you really sit down and you keep the activism out of it, keep the disingenuous nature out of it, keep the bullshit grifters out of it. When you really sit down and think about consulting, it's not a bad idea, right? Because consulting is a highly profitable business for a reason, and it's not just in the gaming industry. Consulting exists in many different industries. It's just a thing, right? Like, consulting has been around for a long time and will continue to be around for a long time. The problem is that there are certain activists who, ironically, were around during Gamergate 1.0. They decided to find out, or I guess they found out, that consulting for DEI is a great opportunity for money. Like, that's really what it is. They found out that by shilling for DEI, by trying to make this about DEI, that you can garner a lot of money, not from what you're able to provide to studios, but from how much money you could get in funding by doing so, whether by the actual government, which is why you got so many of them coming out from Canada. They are all government funded. They have hundreds of thousands of dollars in government funding. Each single company has it that are in Canada. I don't know about the US. I believe the US has something similar, but in Canada, I know it's very big, which is why there's so many of them out there, like Sweet Baby Inc., like Baby Ghost, like Gamma Space. all those companies are in Canada for a reason. It says jobs added coming in and making recommendations and not owning the results, not owning the implementation, I think is a fraction of the value and a fraction of the opportunity to learn and get it better. You do get a broad cut at companies, but it's very thin. It's like a picture of a banana. You might get a very accurate picture, but it's only two-dimensional, and without the experience of actually doing it, you never get three-dimensional. So you might have a lot of pictures on your walls. You can show it off to your friends. You can say, look, I've worked in bananas, I've worked in peaches, I've worked in grapes, but you never really taste it. That's what I think. He then concluded, you're also a variable expense, and in hard times, you find yourself. So then it says, No Rest for the Wicked released in early access on Steam on April 18th. Now, I checked out some of the gameplay. It seems pretty fucking cool, okay? I'm going to admit that. It seems pretty cool. It seems like a Souls-like game with a Diablo-style kind of a thing. I would be totally for that because you guys already know me with Souls-like games. I'm always for that shit. But like I said, early access games, I'm not really for it. I know why they do it, don't get me wrong, but I don't want to invest my money in an early access game. I'd rather wait for the complete product. So when and if the game comes out, I would absolutely love to check it out. That would be badass, so long as they're not pushing this fucking stupid shit and hiring people like this anymore. You know, I'm sure they've learned their lesson, but I did want to make this video because it's good to get it out there that, hey, you know, they actually fired the guy. They got rid of the guy, so that worry is gone. Hopefully the rot hasn't run deep into the company where they're all like that, you know, because we've seen examples like that for many different companies, but it doesn't seem like Moon Studios is one of them just yet. But then it says the official description states, from Moon Studios, the award-winning developers of Ori and the Blind Forest and Ori and the Will of the Wisp, which, by the way, two fantastic games, by the way. I have both of them on Steam. Amazing games. No Rest for the Wicked comes a visceral precision action RPG sent to reinvent the genre. So again, guys, if you're into action RPGs, if you're into games that are Diablo-like, you probably should check this out. I would highly recommend checking this out right now, especially if you're into early access, because it is readily available. But I'm glad that they got rid of this guy because this person was an absolute fucking loser. I mean, he really was a loser, and it's unfortunate. These are the kind of people that will absolutely tank your company if you let them. And if you don't get rid of the rot quickly and the rot starts to spread, you end up with companies like Ubisoft, right? You end up with companies like Sony. You end up with gaming journalist companies like Kotaku. You end up with all these companies that are just so far gone that the only way to save them is to kill them. That's it. The only way to save them is to kill off the company and restart it, to have someone else buy it, or just kill it off and make a new company. Like, that's literally the only way, because the rot is so far down the rabbit hole. It's terrible. So we're going to find out what happens with this game. Like I said, I'm excited to play it. I'm excited to check it out. You guys can let me know in the comments if you are playing it, what you think about it, but at least you can play it a little more comfortably in your mind, knowing that the CEO, Thomas Mahler, got rid of this guy, Alexander Brazzi, and fired his ass, rightfully so. And that makes me unbelievably happy to hear. You guys have no idea. So shout out to I think it was Thomas who left a comment on my channel. Somebody did. I think I responded, but yeah, shout out to him, man. And thankfully you were able to do that and get rid of the rot. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.